Hi, my name is Megan Fairless. This is Amber. We're doing a podcast.
Amber, finger gun, clear. No, that cannot be. I am. My nickname cannot have anything to do with finger it. That will. Don't finger me. Don't.
All right, so what are you passionate about? Like, tell me what's first top on mind that we were just talking about.
Like I have two mantras in life. Like,
Yes.
do you want to go through both of them at the same time, or you want to like self-dissect? I'm like, oh, I keep hitting this with my bracelet too.
We sat at one. We had a paper table because it was a art studio type thing.
I would have been.
And the whole entire time was like, I was like, this. It is what it is. I love it.
Here, I'll take this off though, so I don't click. Because now that I know that it clicks, I'm like,
You're gonna hear it, yeah.
yeah, like I won't stop. I won't stop. Get it. My two mantras in life are like focus on like happiness, and like happiness is circular, but then also like what you focus on is what comes to fruition. So like people always ask me how I deal with competitors or how I deal with people who do exactly what I do, exactly how I do it. Because I'll do something and like obviously people are like, oh, that's successful, so we're going to do the exact same thing. And I'm like, I didn't even know they were doing it because I'm over here just shooting my shot with what I have. Like, good for them. I hope they eat, just like not at my table.
Yes.
Like, that, I don't know. Like,
That's important because I feel like you can waste your time. If you got all that extra time to be worrying about someone else, you could be using that time to be strategizing your own.
100%. And also, like, I'm not going to get bitter. Like,
No.
my thing is that I refuse to allow myself to become angry or upset or bitter about, like, whether it's people doing jokes. Because I've had people, like, blatantly steal my material. And here's the thing, like, my material is so specific to my experiences that, like, you can tell it's, like, inauthentic and not organic with how they're presenting it. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's mine. But then there's some ideas, like in comedy and in life,
Yeah.
that are so common that, like, I also have to look at it like, this is, like, a common theme, or, like, anybody could have this idea and, like, they heard it and they thought it was great and then they tried it. Like,
Yeah.
they just, hopefully they put their own little spin on it. Sometimes I've heard it verbatim, which, whatever. Like, I've been in the business a long time, so it's going to happen.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, it's the worst if, like, because I don't just do my own comedy. Like, I book a lot of shows, but it's the worst to have, like, somebody that I look up to so much that literally will do a joke that they know is, like, they know it's mine, they'll do it, and then they'll either talk to me after the show and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I know that was your bit, and, like, I was just inspired. And I'm like, I don't know how much inspiration that is versus theftery, you know, plagiarism. At that point,
It happens, yeah.
whatever. If the audience enjoys it, the audience enjoys it. That's
You know in the back, you're like, hey, I inspired you to want to do that. Like, yeah.
Well, what's funny is, like, the audiences that I repeatedly go to know me well enough that, like, it happened recently where, like, the person said something and about, I don't know, half the audience on swivel went to me. And I was just like, I don't know what they were thinking, but, like, one of them came up to me after the show and was like, that's your joke, right? And I was like, it is. Like, but people could have similar thought processes and just trying to play it off. And it was a husband and wife. They're like, no, we're going to tell her. Like, if you're not going to tell her, we're going to tell her. And I was like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah,
that make you look good. Even though, like, if it is upsetting, it's like to be like any negativity energy towards those people that even if
Yeah.
you're doing kind of something shitty, it doesn't make
like, I just,
better.
yeah. And here's the thing, like, it could have been, I gotta, like, sit still because I'm, like, so excited to be here with you. I'm like, we're moving the tree too. And every time the tree moves, I'm like, oh,
If he no, I love I gave you the swivel chair too. So it's like
yeah, I'm just trying to, like, must keep my feet still. But it's hard because, you know, I'm just living my best life with my feet in the air. That doesn't sound right. I wish I wish I had my feet in the air more. Yeah, it sucks. Like, you already know, like, now I'm going to jump topics. As a woman in business, like, I think that it, like, messes with, like, not only, like, our dating lives, but, like, our sex lives and other stuff. Like, I think that we have a lot on our minds and we're always focused on, like, success. And in relationships, that can be very intimidating. But, like, even if, especially just starting dating, but, like, even in the bedroom, like, I'm like, oh, enjoying this moment, but also, like, did I send that email?
Oh my God.
Like my whole entire life.
That's just how my brain is constantly working like that.
That's actually like, that can be good. So I keep a notebook. Everyone's like, use digital notes. No, I like have to write it down so that I know that I wrote it down. But the funny thing is I just got this new book. I haven't like dived into it too much, but it's Dr. Silva, and it talks about like theta power, beta power, and alpha power. And like how like there was this one woman that was like super lucky, and she just could like wish things to happen, or like I think that there is a certain power in our souls. Like some people are like, oh, you have a soul. Some people are like, oh, you have what do the ninjas call it? They're like, you have chi, or you have there's an energy in all of it. Like, yeah. So like I think that there is a lot of untapped power. Some people might think I'm crazy. Like Catholics are gonna be like, I grew up Catholic, so I can think.
Oh yeah.
Like, let me just pray about it real quick.
Yeah.
And I think that it's about living with intention.
Yeah.
And like if you live with intention strong enough, like you do get luckier because you're looking for things to happen in your direction.
Yes.
And then you can follow those signs a little bit easier. Like, and it's the same if you accidentally live with negative intention, where you're like so focused on other people, or you're focused on the bad things. Like I think more bad things do happen to you because you see them more. It's like how if somebody gets a Jeep Wrangler, they notice all of the other Jeep Wranglers on the road. But if like you switch to like a Ford F-150, then you're going to notice all the other Ford F-150s on the road. It's like, what are you focusing on? Because that's what you're going to see.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'm sure the book will go deeper, but like, I don't know, I'm only on page 2. So
I have a problem when anytime I get on a self-help book, I have to like finish it in one sitting. But I hate reading. So it's like I have to force myself to do it, and then it's like, I have all the information, we're done. Like,
yes, I 100% believe in living with intention to the point where I have to remind myself what to focus on, because I'm a helper by nature. Like I've taken all the personality tests where it's like I have the perfect storm of personality features to be a problem solver. Like even if I feel one way about something, I will dissect the other side to like the point of being able to play devil's advocate for both sides. Like,
when's your birthday? What sign are you?
Don't
believe it.
No, I don't, I do know what it is. I just have to think.
Oh,
I was born in October.
is there?
Yes, that's what I am.
Why? Yeah. So, okay, all Libras are
balance of powers. Yeah. But like, I've taken all, like, so when I worked for the St. Louis Zoo, they have you take personality tests.
Yeah.
And like, it's the color one. And then I've taken like learning mechanisms. I'm big on knowing people's love language.
Yeah.
So I can understand people more. So there's a series of men that I work with, like in a professional setting. Okay. And in that professional setting, none of these men are the same.
Yeah.
But they all have the same like job description power. And I've noticed that like their love language is very much how they view the world, because they don't realize it. So like one's love language is quality time. So for him and his team, he's dividing his quality time with his team and his quality time with his family. And another guy is, I think it's like part of gift giving, but he's being a provider, right? Yeah. So like he wants to make sure that like he makes enough money to provide for his family, but also he helps his team make money so that they can provide for their families.
Yeah.
The funny thing is like these guys are polar opposites with how they manage, because one wants people to be there all the time so that they can provide for their family. The other one wants people to be there all the time so that they can spend time like with him and like quality time, but then also very much respects their quality time with their family. Yeah. Like their goal is the same. It's just their approach is different.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of discussions with them about how they parent is how they manage for the most part. I'll say for 9 out of 10 managers. And then I have one manager who he's like, yes, yes, yes to his kid all the time.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be, because kids need to experience rejection at a young age. And then he's no to his employees all the time. And I'm like, you gotta like meet in the middle here, brah. So yeah.
Switching it up. What do you think your love language is?
It's touch, 100%. It is 100% touch. So it's also like, I know the cheat code. Like we could talk about love all day long with you, because you talk about what you don't know, right? I know the cheat code to make people fall in love with me, and I like refuse to use it.
Yeah.
So my love language is touch, but like I have to be comfortable with the person, and then it's followed up by like quality time and acts of service, right? But like I want you to do things with me, not necessarily for me.
Absolutely.
And I'm big on like combine that with my ADD, ADHD, and there's this thing called body doubling where I can get a task done if there's another person there. Like you don't have to do it with me. They just have to be in the round there, like with me.
Yeah.
And if you like talk about unlocking a superpower, like if I could find somebody that had that same like, oh my God, oh my life, whew, elevated. But I think for me, like the cheat code for love, by the way, if you're watching this, if you want someone to fall in love with you, or even if you want to fall deeper in love with someone else, like you have to experience new things with that person. So like me, let's pretend we're going on a date. Like if I take you to a restaurant that I've always been to, that's not going to work. Like you're not going to feed off my excitement. We're not going to experience the adversity. It's not adversity, like the adventure.
Yes.
Together and get those same endorphins. Or like, let's say you go like mountain biking, or you do something that has a lot of adrenaline, endorphins, and fun stuff like that. That's a cheat code. Like that's how you get people, because they mistake the fact that like they're getting all these endorphins and adrenaline, and they think they're getting it from the person they're going on the date with.
Yeah.
Really, it's the activity.
Yeah.
So
that's like our little fairy adventure that we got to go
yes,
on.
that's probably why you love me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
It's not the reason.
yeah.
I think I fell in love with you at the pinup competition.
Oh God. Which one? Wait, it was on an Alton, right?
No, the one that happened at the Hidden Lake Winery.
Yeah.
But I was
So that was
very intoxicated.
First one ever? No, that's my second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like I rarely drink because I make bad enough decisions sober. And I'm a control freak. But I was just like, I'm gonna have fun. Like I didn't know anyone there.
Exactly. Same here.
I knew absolutely no one. And I was like, I'm gonna get drunk and have a good time.
Yeah.
Like I look adorable. People should love me. If they don't, that's their problem. Like
They're cute girls. They fall in love with
that was also where I realized I may have a small kink. So my pantyhose ripped.
Yeah.
Like my pantyhose like they ripped in a weird way.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to like rip them the rest of the way off, like without getting undressed. Again, I was drunk.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing it was like the hottest moment of my life. Like this guy like comes up and he's like, I'll help you. He took my like pantyhose and he just ripped them like appropriately, right? Like,
Yeah.
he ripped them off below my dress. So he was like super respectful about it.
Let's go in this closet real quick.
No, my God, I was like, I have to go. Like, give me 2 glasses of wine and rip my pantyhose off. Oh my God. Woo! No one has ever like
Secret. Yeah, secret time.
it's
You're wearing pantyhose.
just rip them off. Rip them off.
Yeah. At the next show.
He was just so polite about it too. Like,
Yeah.
and I think like, again, back to my control freak stuff, that like he did it so gently that I was just like, oh my God. Oh,
It was the Hidden Lake Winery.
something.
Like they got the port out that night. That was the first time I ever had port. Was that same night?
Is that the half of it? Like, yeah.
It's disgusting.
I like sweet wine or I like ice wine. If it's like not sweet, I have to like add a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little sparkle.
Yeah, I gotta sprinkle some amber in there, like little fizz and fizz.
My favorite wine is the Grafton Winery sparkling wines that they have. They have peach.
Oh, peach wine is good.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's peach.
I went to Grafton Winery for their like the little like cove things, and we brought my favorite game, which is Cards Against Humanity, which says a lot about me as a person. But it's a good get to know you game. Like it's just that's honestly like I think a really good game night can be like a good date night because you get to know the person a lot.
You get to see the humor, like how dark can it
Yeah, like are you gonna laugh at that? Or like you gonna think I'm fucked up?
Yeah. Yeah, it's real fun. Yeah, there's definitely been a few nights where I got too late playing Cards Against Humanity, and it's like, that was fucked up.
I love it.
We're all fucked up.
Like you get to know like, and the thing is like I've played that game with so many different people, and you get to know like a lot about a person and who gets offended by what, and it's like, why are you offended by that? Like, we're all laughing. Like, you aren't even the target. Like, no one, this is not your target demographic.
Yeah.
Like, you should be laughing at this. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, I could bring up 1,000 topics, but like some of them are not super appropriate. So no,
Let me think of it.
oh, you're going to ask like real adult questions.
Questions, but it's not gonna be that serious. It's never anything that serious in my life.
So I feel like at the end of the day, like if I fail at something, it's not that serious.
So
Like if I try something and I don't do well, it's not that serious. I tried. Because my mantra is, again, like I have 3 rules that I live by. And the third one is like talking about mistakes. If you make a mistake and you don't learn from it, it becomes a true mistake. But if you make a mistake and you learn from it, or you had fun,
yeah,
it's not so bad.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
If you had fun and it's a mistake, like
Yeah,
be aware.
right. Like, I mean, I guess if like pregnancy happened and you're like, well, I had fun, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've never had that issue. So,
It was us on Sims last night. I had my 2 girl best friends over until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
Playing Sims, and we had to go through the whole pregnancy. I was like, I'm glad that mine lived.
Sims?
Yeah, we're going through vicariously. Like, fuck, dude, this is real life.
That's funny.
Fuck around and find out on Sims.
Yeah.
No, what I was gonna ask is, for choosing to live the life that you have by all your mantras and everything else, how has that blessed your life? Like, how many opportunities do you think that has given you just by being a better person?
Oh, I don't think that I'm a better person, but I think that I'm happier. So I think that like again, it goes back to living intentionally. And I think that like because I haven't had a life without struggle. Like I was homeless. Like I didn't have the best childhood. Like I didn't have the best like early adulthood even. Through no fault of my own. Like it just, you're born into certain situations. And I worked really hard to get myself out of those situations. But the funny thing is like now I joke that like I have money now.
Yeah.
And like I do, like don't get me wrong, I still struggle, but like if I lose it all, I know how to get it again.
Yeah.
Like I've had so much less than I've had now that like it doesn't scare me to lose everything again. Like at the end of the day, I've climbed that mountain once and it makes me think that like I could absolutely climb it again because now I know the steps. Whereas before I was just going blind and I was like the struggle bus all the way. But now like I know it's going to be okay. Like whatever happens, it's going to be okay. Like if I'm homeless under a bridge for another year or two, like it'll be okay.
If you could give any advice to the girl back then, what would you say?
Oh God. I don't know, because that would change if I gave her advice now, like with what I know, that would change my path and that would change like my whole life. And I don't regret anything that I've went through because I enjoy who I am now. And I think I'm a good person now, but it's taken all of those moments for me to get here. So if I go back and I change anything, then I don't become who I am now. So like even all of the struggles I had, like I wouldn't change anything. And I think that the only advice I can give was like, keep on plugging, enjoy every moment, which I think I've done a really good job of doing. Like I live life at both ends of the spectrum. And like, I just enjoy life to the fullest. Like on like this week on Thursday, I had a show. On Friday, I had a show. On Saturday, I got home on Friday night, technically Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday morning, like 4 hours later, I'm getting up to go take a watercolor class for like 6 hours at this beautiful venue with all of the plants, by the way. And then I went to the horse races because I had never been.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool too. Like it was, like I want to drive the tractors. But like this goes back to how I live my life. Like everyone's like, well, you can't drive the tractors. And I was like, who says I can't drive the tractors? So every person that walked by with a name tag, I was like, hey man, how do I drive the tractors? How do I ride the tractor? And until like I get like a solid no, like I'm gonna stop. So I'm probably gonna end up driving the tractors. Like that's gonna be my new.
It's gonna be like at the Blues game in the Zamboni.
So did you see that I gotta drive the Zamboni? Yeah. Like I was like, this is lit.
This goals in life. That's what I love to do. Is like I definitely look at just like my whole life. Like I even have it tattooed on my ass by me.
What?
Already.
How do you read it if it's on? You're like,
oh, I can't see it everywhere. It's on kind of side ass a little bit. And twist. I'll forget about it and then I'll see it in the shower. I'm like, yes. Okay, so my Meemaw she wrote it. I haven't loved her handwriting. 83-year-old asinine. And I truly live my life to an asinine T. Like, I don't give a fuck if anyone thinks I'm foolish. I have a good time.
Yeah. So that's how I feel. Like, my goal is to like live my best life without inflicting pain on anyone else. Like, I'm never going to do something that intentionally causes hurt to other people. Like, my goal is to help other people because that makes me feel like I'm contributing to society in a positive way. And I think that's a weird skill that I have, that's like helping people move forward and feel grounded and understand more of their situation, because I don't tell them what to do. Like, I just have them dissect what they're going through and like what they've learned from it and what the potential paths that they could take and what that would mean, and then break which path do you realistically foresee being achievable, and like how do you break that down into like manageable steps. But like, yeah, live life to the fullest. Like, I'm gonna be tired a lot.
Oh my God, that's me this whole weekend.
Yeah, what do you do this weekend?
Oh man, so my podcast, I've been like,
I love it.
Hyper
work mode.
I'm like, let's get this shit done. And plus, I'm getting so much energy from like, I'm normally super busy all the time because I love working. I can't say no. But now I've been learning to say no. And I've been saying no to all these different projects that don't align perfectly with what I want to make money with. So
making room for your own success. Yeah. You have to make room for the good things in life. Yeah. And that especially for like women-led business, like that's hard because it's like, oh, here's an opportunity for $100. I should take it. But it's like, if I do that, like the potential that I could be making for $1,000 for something that follows more my project. Like, I started doing that too. Like, yeah.
It's hard though. It was like one of the hardest things for me to get used to. And it was one of the first things that was preached to me in my mentorship with like videography. They're like, you need a niche down. I was like, I can never. I'm so capable of doing everything. So I'm going to do everything. But it's like, do you really enjoy doing everything? Does everything bring you the most money for your time? Like, does it bring it all the most happiness? Like, how about you just figure out what brings the most happiness? And that's wedding.
Do you love wedding? Most people hate weddings.
Okay, so I hate it, but for all the reasons that I hate it, I love it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a drama mama. Like, see.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
it's like look at all living at General Hospital every weekend.
But no, I purposely, like, I'm like trying to avoid it for like the bride's sake.
Yeah.
And I get to go home to my Mima, which is like a soap opera in real life. She knows everything that's going on in life. I'm like, the bride's mom did this, this, and this, or like someone almost got arrested.
I love it.
I fucked up.
That's what I want my wedding to be like. If I ever get married, which probably won't happen. Because even how I talk about it, I'm like, I'm not so sure I want it to happen. So I'm just like,
let's have a big party.
Honestly, yeah. Like if I turn 40, like I am gonna have like
if
like half a flat open to the universe. Whatever happens. Like I've lived my best life, and I think, I don't know if you know that, like it'll be 13 years later this summer. Maybe it'll be 12 years. Honestly, I'm bad at the years flying by. I had a blood clot on my brain. And it was the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it was also like the best thing that ever happened to me, because it really made me focus on my personal happiness and my future, and like living my best life. Like literally realizing that I have a finite amount of time here.
Yes.
And I need to make the most of it. And then my own body like failing on me constantly. It's like, I'm going to do what I can with what I have while I've got it. And that's like the same with comedy and the same with business. Like, I'm going to do everything that I can with what I have to the best of my abilities. Like, and I say that with my dogs.
Yeah.
Because I know that you love animals. I love animals. I have a 19-year-old dog. Yeah. I got him when he was 13. His 90-year-old owner had passed away. And I just say that I'm going to do the best I can with the time I have. And that's how I live my life. That's how I appreciate his life. And I don't let it like get to me that he's not going to be here forever. Because like that's traumatizing to think about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to focus on it. Like, so I just focus on the good moment.
I'll sit and talk with Mima. We're very blunt and morbid people, I guess. But I'm just like, she's like, I'll be one of your guardian angels. I'm like, you're going to have to like have a separate bank account just for my therapy. Like when you pass away. Because where we share birthdays, like live right next to each other and everything. I'm like, everyone always focuses. I caretake for her too.
Yeah.
And everyone else, from everyone else's perspective, they're like, that's so miserable. You could be like living your life, like you have a business, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I get to have coffee with my best friend every morning.
And the life advice you get and the love you get, like my grandparents pretty much raised me too. So like they're both gone now, but my grandpa the entire time, like on a farm, would explain to me repeatedly that this is what happens. This is the nature of life. It ends. And he was very religious, and like Catholics believe, you go to heaven, but I'm to the point where like, I don't know, like I think, again, back to the energy thing, like we all have an energy, like where does it go? Like, does it get recycled? Because that's kind of like how I feel at this moment.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I don't know how I feel. 10 years ago, I was like just terrified because I was like, we go nowhere. I was like, we just cease to exist. But I think that like on some level, like it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I think that we just get recycled.
Yeah. This is my theory. Omninism, that's the latest term that I realized. I used to just explain it as I believe everything is true and false at the same time. We have no fucking clue. Like, but I love every different perspective from every different religion.
Yeah.
Kind of has like this, like similarities and everything.
It does. And people are like, no, this is different. I'm like,
it's exactly the same. Prayer and manifestation.
Yeah.
100%
the same. Yeah. And even like, we all call our gods by different names.
Yeah. It's all this different words, same definition.
Yes.
And then we all want to be hateful to each other, but whatever.
Shit. Like,
my latest idea is that like I love ghosts. Like ghosts are my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe that like once you pass, and this I could be 100% wrong. Once you pass, that if you still have someone you're connected to on life, that you will be a guardian if you choose to be. But then once it's your time, then you don't have anything else purposeful in like the spiritual side, and then you'll get recycled into a life that serves purpose for building the bigger like nirvana, learning lessons. Yeah. But no, I love religion. That's if I always said that if school is for free, I would go back for like theology or
really
something like that.
That's awesome. My grandpa is like every tractor I see, every like Ford F-150, and then Amish people. My grandpa was not Amish, but I encountered so many Amish people through him.
Yeah.
So and goats. Like he loved his goats, specifically Nubians. So like I was explaining like how I knew about goats to somebody on this Jeep trip, and they're like, how do you have goats? And I was like, well, not anymore. Like I'm not allowed to right now, so I would not have them because that would be against regulations in the township in which I live. But I was like, no, like my grandpa, like, and that shocked people. Like people that know me from one aspect are always shocked about the other. But yeah, my grandpa, like my grandma is quilts and like fancy JCPenney clothing items, and my grandpa is like Ford F-150s, goats, and both of them are the outdoors. And I don't know, like I want to be the same way. Like find me in the forest.
I find you like Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, every time that. Like talk about you can do that. Like that same TikTok trend goes back to personal branding. Like what do people see and think of you? And I teach a social media class for like salespeople.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is like some of these people are just, I go home, I go to work. I go home, I go to work. I'm like, what else do you do? Like you do something, even if it's like a TV show that's your favorite, or like your favorite sweater or something in your life. And like, if you truly don't have anything else, like you need to go find something.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like, yeah. So what's like your brand? Like
brand?
Yeah. Like what do people see and then they think of you? Like,
I don't know. Adventure, I'd hope. Jokingly, probably like Pinchy's coffee and pizza.
Yeah.
Like that's that like I thought about a real good one the last time I saw that actual TikTok where it's like, don't look for me there, look for me there. I completely forgot it off the top of my mind.
There's also to think of it.
But
it's different for how you know different people. Like, I think that however people meet you and whatever the aspect, like that will stick with like however they think of you, that first impression, they can adapt and add to that. Yeah. That first impression is always there. Yeah. And so like if I see a camera, like I legitimately think of or if I see like a winery, like a lot of times I'll think of you. Yeah. Like she's like travel, winery, like just everything camera related, and then smiling. Like you always have the biggest smile. So I'm just like, yep, that's it.
And chinky eyes are not to be racist. It's not bad. Non-existent eyes. There we go. That's on brand. 100% my whole life.
Well, they were just like, I don't know. Like I think that it comes from like a place of like you grew up with that word and you.
No, yeah. I had someone else tell me like, don't say this or don't try and fix what you say, blah blah blah. The last one, I was like, you know what, you're right. I can edit it if it's that bad. But
like if people are offended by something, then you can adapt.
Yeah.
But like if people are genuinely not offended by that word that are in your circle or like for the greater, like I don't know, like like there are obviously certain words that I don't.
Oh, absolutely.
But like it's so funny because like I'm friends with people from all walks of life, and I've had people say like, say it one time, like, and I'm like, no. But yeah,
I was just talking about one of my friends realized I had a Twitter, which I don't have a Twitter. Don't look for it. I like posting into the void, but I have like 21,000 tweets because I've been on there since Twitter.
So you began tweeting straight,
brain out, gone, stupid shit all the time. But whenever the search feature came up, I made sure to like search through all my tweets. I was like, there was a day and age where it was like in popular music all the time. I'd say it all the time, like, what up? And I'm like, that's so cringy. You need to shut.
But I think we grow as people. Like even just now, like you caught yourself and you're like, oh, I can't say that.
Yeah.
Like you're learning. Like you overcome and learn.
For sure.
Yeah. Like you develop a
swear. Yeah.
Who you are 10 minutes ago isn't necessarily always who you are right now. Like
yeah.
It's just life. I have a Twitter. I only use it to tweet at Zach Bryan. Like that's it. Like I went to 3 of his concerts last year in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I think all of them were 2 of them were in St. Louis, and the other one was like around St. Louis. And like now I just use it because he's all over Twitter, and I love him.
And it would be
like what's up? And then I follow his girlfriend Deb.
Yeah.
Like she has the most lit TikTok. I don't know. But back to branding. Like what else do you like? What else is like your brand? Like travel is
brand. Like yeah, branding's so weird, especially like. And that's something I've been like practicing, like especially with this podcast is like, and that's something I talked about too with the other thing, not just branding, but me as a person overall. I feel like with Meggie Me, I've created this such clean brand that most people just associated me with like that brand because that's what I've
weddings
the most. Yeah,
weddings. And I mean, I honestly think of weddings.
Yeah,
like immediately people are like weddings, and I'm like,
Megan,
like I've tagged you in so much stuff. Yeah.
But then it's like they don't realize like I'll be a bad kid and like smoke weed or something like that, and they're like,
that's not a bad trade.
I know.
So
first of all, legal now.
Yeah. First of all, like
we grew up in the prohibition.
Yeah. Yeah. But even then, like that's a victimless crime.
No, yeah, it's not meth or anything.
Well, you're not like when you smoke weed. Like, what are you gonna do? Order a bunch of pizza?
Yeah.
Like you're almost like
myself.
You're feeding the economy. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
Versus like other doctors and stuff are shoving other drugs. And here's the thing, like, I don't smoke weed. Again, like, I just think that other people should have that right. Like,
yeah. Especially after all these years, like,
yeah, like
Nixon fucking it up for everyone, like, more on drugs,
like, like most of it's natural. Like, I don't think that people should necessarily have access to the harder stuff.
No.
Like, if you're comparing alcohol versus weed, I would rather sit down and have a conversation with somebody or hang out with somebody that's done a little weed. I don't know what the proper terminology is. Like, or like
cannabis.
Yeah, they have achieved a high via the green grass, which is so funny. Like I bought drugs twice in my life. That's a whole fun story.
Yeah,
I'm no longer allowed back in Jamaica because of drugs. But I think that versus somebody on alcohol who like can have this rate, like it typically doesn't happen that people smoke weed and they tear shit up. Like they'll get drunk and like there'll be vomit everywhere, or they'll like break everything. But if they're just on the weed, they're just chill. Like, like it's not like
might have a little panic attack, but they're not gonna attack anyone.
Oh, if they have alcohol, they're gonna definitely like manifest some weird shit. Like
But yeah, branding. It's like this whole thing has been like trying to rediscover myself because even before the pandemic, like I started like being hyper aware of how people viewed me. So I really like started just sanding off all these extra little caveats of who I was just so it's like easy and presentable. And then it kind of like lost a part of me a little bit. And other people were telling me like, your light's not the same.
Because you were so busy worried about what other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now this is a way for me to practice and like get to interact with people that hold me accountable for being myself, you know, and showing off like, yo, I'm more than just like a videographer. I go and travel, and I love music more than anything.
Same. Yes. Yeah.
So, and
live concerts are everything.
Yeah. And then like interacting with people, like I'll be so dead. Like this morning, I feel bad because I had to cancel a podcast with one of my closer friends because I just felt dead.
This morning?
Yes. And I was like, I could not wake up. I only got like 3 hours. And I was like trying. I was dead because dang old Sims.
But you had fun last night. Like,
but even like up into ours, I was like, no way. I paid for like the studio. We're doing it. But I know for a fact, even if I'm not at 100% when I go into it, whenever I leave, I'm like, I'm on this high.
Because you vibe with it, like you adapt and pick up other people's energy.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if I would have come in here and like, if I was a sad sack of shit when I came out here, that would have also rubbed off on you. So I just try to be like mindful whenever I enter a space that like to cleanse my palate. I don't know. So I just walk in and can kind of like match or uplift someone's vibe. Like I have bad days. Like and I either intentionally go around other people that I know like have the ability to like perk me up.
Yeah.
Or like I'll stay home, like where I'm just like
just re-energize.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Like chicken.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fun. How many chickens do you have?
An illegal number. So it's weird because I'm like super careful about telling people where I live right now.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like, free. And like as you get a slight bit of like more and more social recognition.
That's terrifying.
Like, it is because people find me and like, I don't know how much you know about the things that I sell on the internet.
Yeah.
But like obviously like I sell my personality on stage, and sometimes people cannot get enough, and they have figured out where I live, and it has not been the best situations. Like in the end, like they have the best intentions, but I think their approach is sometimes it's a little terrifying because
they don't think about your perspective.
They don't, and that's the thing. Like either way, I love them, but like just be respectful in the way that you approach me. Like if I'm at the gym, like I don't care if I'm sweaty, whatever. Like come say hi. But if I'm like obviously walking to my house and like don't like be like hello, how are you? I have found where you live from the internet.
Yeah.
I had my house broken into. This was before I live where I live now, and honestly, this was 14 years ago.
Yeah. But that still sits with you forever.
It does. Because it was and I thought it was so cool. I lived super out in the country, and it's like basically it was a shack. But I lived by a lake, and I love being outside. And so like I didn't care the condition of the house. Also, there were like no other houses around, which also means that it takes forever for police to get there when there's a problem. So yeah, it's just like I'm more mindful now about like not being like, oh, I'm staying at this hotel and I love it. Or like making fun of the hotel on stage, or whatever it is. Like, and low key, again, things I shouldn't say that I'm going to.
Yeah,
I usually say like when I was in Kentucky. Was I in Kentucky or Tennessee? I don't know. 2 weekends ago, I stayed in the state parks. Like they have like cabins and stuff in state parks, this is setting up like the perfect murder scene. Like we're by a fire. I'm telling the internet like, yes, I stay alone.
We got paid
in the state park. No. Like, but also like I pulled into the state park. This was definitely Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because it was like land between the lakes area. I pulled into a state park and I pulled up with all the other Jeeps, and I like remember taking a bunch of pictures, and I go in and like I didn't know that the other Jeeps were going to be there. They didn't know I was going to be there. And like I check in and like I make friends with this one group, and they're the Jeepers. And then like I'm like, yeah, I'm the other Jeep. And they're like, oh, that's awesome. The next morning I would have breakfast, and like I meet another group of Jeepers. I go with these people. Like I'm like, I got like 13 hours before my next show. Like, let's go. And so I just went with these people. I got a side by side with a stranger. And I hate letting other people drive.
Yeah.
It was like the best day ever. One time I was in Iowa. Speaking of getting in cars with strangers, which is everything that our mothers tell us not to do.
I kind of do you, but I definitely got your guys' Jeep. Where's the thing lock? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So first of all, I pride myself on being a very conscious driver.
Yes.
But more importantly, like I was in Iowa one time, and this is one of my favorite memories. Like I think I was doing a show somewhere, I don't even remember, but like there was like a car or truck pull. And I have a weird thing with like vehicles. Like I love, which works because, automotive place. But like we're at this truck pull And I was like, oh my God, there's a station wagon in the truck pull. Somehow I make friends, and then I'm in the truck, in the station wagon truck, in the truck pull. Like, I did not think it through because I don't know how many truck pulls you've been to.
Oh, yeah, my family's big into it. Yeah, I used to race.
Stiff by me to all the truck pulls. So as the like the sled of weight,
Yeah.
like the whole premise is like you pull this thing as far as possible that's very heavy, and it gets progressively heavier the further you go. As the sled like hits maximum weight for this cool vehicle, the whole front end, like I'm in the passenger seat, no airbag. Like this vehicle is from like 1970 or I don't know. Don't know the guy I'm with. Don't even have a seatbelt on. Like I don't even know if there was a seatbelt.
Probably not.
Like I just have like this bar of breath.
Have a helmet on?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's the
I
type.
love Iowa. That's a type.
I was about to say.
Like I had a helmet with me. That's the thing. Like I had my motorcycle bucket with me. But I was so excited, and I didn't know the guy's name. He didn't know my name. Go fire, get in. You can get in. And like I think I'm Facebook friends with this whole family now.
That's good. You almost died.
No, like it went straight up. First of all, I'm afraid of heights. Like I try to overcome all the time, but in that moment, I was not overcoming it. So I'm just like screaming with like both fear and excitement. And then we like come back down and like, I don't even know if we won, but I felt like a winner.
Yeah.
I got to fucking love you, dude. It's like, all your hair, like he's dirty, I'm dirty, like we're both smelly. And I'm just like, that was amazing. And he was like, do you want to drive? And I was like, no. Like, but also yes.
Next year, or this year, my uncle normally is the one that does the Jersey County tractor pulls. So I'm gonna get the dates. I'm gonna send them to you.
We're gonna go
have
together.
to have like a whole vlog. Like
you get high, I'll just go on natural enthusiasm. We're like, please let me ride your tractor.
oh no, we can do any of that. We'll be in the main stage and all that. Like
we need to find someone who will let me drive their tractor.
That's easy. I just did a huge farm documentary and I have farmer friends.
If you have farmer friends, can you help me find a tiny bit of land to put it is, but all I want to do is put like a tiny home on it. Like I just want to put a tiny home and like live with my chickens in the forest. Like I have two speeds. I'm on stage in front of everyone, or I'm like just with my chickens and my dogs and my fictitious goat.
That's like all me and my like girlfriend's plans is that we want to have the commune, right?
A tiny home commune.
Yes.
I'm joining here. So
all right, cool.
We're combining.
I'm waiting for I'm waiting for grandma to pass away. I'm gonna buy property there.
Yeah. I have thought about starting both I call it a happy hippie commune.
Yeah.
Which is just where like no drama, we all have our own space and like we just stay out of each other's business, but like we can have like our own little tiny homes where we're there together but separately.
Yeah.
But also like starting up like a cuddle not a cuddle factory.
Yeah.
But like a cuddle business, because I think there's so many people in today's world that do have the love language of touch.
Yes.
That just don't get. I think people are going crazy, and I use that in both the literal and like non-literal sense. And people are going crazy because our culture doesn't do enough touch. Like we don't hug each other enough. We don't like grown men. I work with a lot of men. I work in so many male-dominated environments, whether it's the automotive industry, motorcycles, comedy, farming, being a chicken tender, which is about 50-50 to female, male, motorcycles, that I'll ask grown men that are single adult men that their kids are grown or they don't have kids. I'm like, when's the last time like you even like got a hug? Like non-sexual physical touch. And even like the men that like, I think that they should be getting touched because I feel like I don't know, like they have families and things that care about them. Like not necessarily they have a wife or their own kids, but like they have parents or they have siblings. Like I'll talk to them and they haven't like had a hug in years, or they haven't like just like gently. It's non-sexual touch is super important. And I think that like, again, it's about energy. And I think that it's making like a lot of issues in our culture because like men are afraid to touch other men in our society, I feel like. Because so many people are afraid of being labeled with whatever. And it's like, who cares? Like,
Yeah. The beautiful toxic masculinity. Yeah.
yeah. Well, even then, it's just like they're afraid it's going to affect their job, or they're
Yeah.
afraid, and it's not even like, it's not even necessarily the homophobic stuff. It's they're afraid to legitimately touch people because they don't want to do it without explicit permission.
Yeah.
And I do respect that because consent is very important. But I think that it's a natural progression to like hug people, or to, because I've had men that are like, I will approach to hug and they're like, they're very, very, consent is very, very important to them. And it's gotten so important that they just, instead of even asking for consent, they just don't move in that direction.
Yeah.
Like,
But I wonder if they're scared of rejection too.
I think that that's some of it too. I think it's one, they don't like if they're afraid of being called a homophobe or whatever, or would that be a homophobe, or would that be I don't know.
Homo, I guess.
Yeah. So they're afraid of like whatever sexual inclination from touching someone of the same gender. But if it's the opposite gender or even same gender, they're afraid of it being labeled as non-consensual touch and impacting them in some other way. But then, yeah, absolutely, it could be their rejection, their fear of rejection. And I'm over here just like holding everyone's hand. Like, but my thing is like, I do ask for consent. And the minute someone is like, and I ask for consent, like sometimes verbally and sometimes like I'll poke their hand or I'll just put my hand out. Like I'm just like, and like they understand, like especially since I'm so over the top with it. But like if they don't consent, I respect their boundaries. But like even then, sometimes they'll like giggle and feel so shocked. Yeah. And then it's become a comfort for a lot of people, like that, like I'll hold hands or I'll hold arms or whatever. And I don't know, like it's just, I get our country is bad about maintaining touch. I don't know, like even families. Like I was talking to somebody that I was like, you don't hug your adult children? And he's like, well, no, we probably stopped hugs like around puberty. And I'm like, what?
Do you know what funny I just talked about the other day? Which is so funny to call yourself out, which it's all about culture to me and it's all how you were raised and everything. I kissed my parents up on the lips until the pandemic. And that
until the pandemic. You're like, it's so funny that we have before pandemic and after pandemic.
Yeah. So it's like, and then after the pandemic that I realized I'm like, and it was funny, the girl I was talking to, she's like, it's kissing so sexual. I'm like,
it's not though.
Like,
it's how
like the French and all that. Yeah. Yeah. It was very tight lipped.
Yeah. You're not tonguing anyone.
No, but yeah, amazing how even the pandemic has changed like how we interact with people. Yeah. Like even back on
elbow bump instead of like actually shaking hands or hugging. And it's like, that is like hurting people. Like we keep further segregating all of ourselves from each other. And then there's these divisive lines, whether it's politically or whether it's racially or whether it's whatever, like the media keeps hammering these divisive lines that like makes us feel more and more alone. And like my whole goal is to make everybody feel like we're all together. Because at the end of the day, we are like, we're less different than the media would like to make us feel.
That's my goal. Everything's propaganda, and I'm just making a different form of propaganda.
100%. See, happy propaganda. Yes. I'm doing happy propaganda.
I don't care if it makes me any profit at all. Like my grandma, she was like, so you're going to make money doing this? I'm like, if anything, I'm losing money, like a lot of money, but it's all with just creating it.
So let's go back to that, because there are a ton of people out there who, if you went to them for sponsorships,
I don't believe that I deserve it.
But that's, again, back to imposter syndrome. Like, you absolutely do deserve that. And if you can't do it for yourself, then do it for others.
And so a Facebook post like, hey, who wants to give me money?
Some of it is like, sometimes it is, put it out there and say, hey, here's my link tree if you guys can support me, or if you know of businesses that would be willing to support me. I'm trying to spread happiness. I don't know if I'd use the word propaganda because that's such a...
I know everyone...
I love
descriptions.
I love it. It's a hot word though, so that would get attention. But the thing is like, if you explain to people that you're trying to counterbalance all the negativity that's put in this world, first of all, you absolutely do deserve to be sponsored and paid for your work. Second of all, if you can't do it for yourself and make a living for yourself, think about the ability that you have if you're being paid to make this product that the people are consuming, like all of the people you're affecting. Like, you can't continue to make your best product without being paid a living wage. So like, do it for other people. Sometimes that's hard for me because I'm like, oh man, going back to like making space for our own success, not taking jobs that don't pay well, that would, we have to like say no to those so we can free up space for all of the good things that come our way. For me, like, you also have to like mentally make that space, but also like financially make that space.
Yes, that was a big part of like making this happen, is because I've been in a financial place of like having to constantly just work just so to keep my head above the water. Or I just set it up like that a long time ago when I wanted to make money, and then
Yes.
completing all those contracts. So now I have like a whole team below me.
Yeah.
So I'm able to like get shit done without having to be involved.
Yep.
And so I have
Honestly,
that financial freedom. Yeah.
Same. And the thing for me too, though, like this is what makes you happy, and this is how you help spread your message. You deserve to be paid.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, at the same time, like sometimes we start things that make us happy thinking that like we're only going to do it because it makes us happy, but like it does segue into something that gets paid. Like I'll take jobs that I'll take shows that don't pay as much as they should because I can go on what I call my vacation. So like Land Between the Lakes. I love Land Between the Lakes. And there are some venues down there or some other show producers that can't afford the thousands of dollars it is to like have me come perform, right? So like I'll come down there for like a way less amount, knowing that I can sell merch, and then like I'll book other gigs off of that. But I'm very select about when I say yes, because otherwise if I say yes to like Joe Blow, who asked me to perform here, let's say in St. Louis, like if I say yes and like then I'm undervaluing myself in this whole market. So you have to be like very conscious about where you allow yourself. I don't even want to say where you allow yourself to be undervalued, but where you take opportunities.
I call it, I always tell other people, because I'm very strategic with it, with like how it helps me build my network and then build my credibility, and then also build I guess credibility in multiple ways. But I value things other than money.
Correct. I tell people all the time, and I explain to people that networking will help your net worthing. Like your network is your net worth. Because like, let's say that you decided, you woke up tomorrow and you're like, I'm done with photography. You know enough people where you could have a job in a heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely.
Anything else.
Yeah.
And that's partly like being adaptable and being like having this network of people.
Well, look at this right now. I'm tired of editing, so I'm like, I want to go be an interviewer and talk to people.
I love it.
Now I get
Which is so fun.
connection. Yeah.
Doing so much more editing because we're like, I'm sitting in this chair and we're gonna throw this at you. I'm gonna kick the fire off. Like,
let's definitely finish up any thoughts that we have here, and then let's do the body positivity type stuff on the bed. And the most unflattering.
no, I'm not put my Bigfoot makes a gentle lover shirt.
Yes.
Will look like it's a different day.
Yeah.
We'll be like
Part 2.
Yeah. But like, I absolutely want to talk about body positivity because it goes with the whole mindset of like, I have to focus on myself and less about what other people are caring about, because those people don't pay my bills. And by bills, I mean, they don't pay into my emotional stability, but they also don't pay into my actual bills. Like, unless you are feeding me, fucking me, or paying my bills, I don't know if there's anything else that you could do that would make me care about your opinion.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in my circle and I allow you in, I will take your constructive feedback. But if your feedback is not constructive and you're just like, I wash my hands of you. Yeah. Like, I have no focus on you because what you focus on comes to fruition. And so I just hard charge whenever direction I'm going. I don't know. It's so funny. Like, I got back from this motorcycle trip. I rode a Ducati Monster to Wyoming. And people who know bikes immediately are like, what? Because it's a super light bike. I think it weighed 396 pounds wet with a full tank of gas.
Yeah.
And I only took a backpack. So first of all, obviously it was very smelly.
Yeah.
Like, didn't care.
Yeah.
But they're also like, how did you do the highway? How did you do the interstate? Like, how did you do semis? And I'm like, I don't know. I just did it. And so many people were telling me like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I was like, I got news for you. I just did it and I'm back. Like, so don't tell people what they can't do. Like,
especially something they haven't done just because they're scared, you know?
And it's so funny. Like, I I performed at Sturgis and I wear dresses all the time. Spoiler alert, it's because I'm out here Winnie the Poohing it. I just don't like to wear pants.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be comfortable, right? So, like, I wear dresses so that it's easier to go pee, easier to match, easier to just, like, feel the breeze. But, like, it makes me look a certain way, right? And so people don't assume that I work in male-dominated environments. People don't assume that I can ride a motorcycle. A lot of times I'll have, like, chub rub shorts on or whatever. Or I'll have boots on and, like, I'll lift my dress up, get on my motorcycle. People's faces just go, but, like, I don't see them. And the only reason I even notice them now is because I've had enough friends, like, take videos or, like, watch people. And they're like, everyone was just staring at you. And I was like, oh, well, was I looking good? And they're like, you were looking weird. I was like, I don't
I want to do like a whole photo shoot now. Like, let's get like a ball gown on a bike.
Yeah. I mean, I have a beautiful motorcycle, and I do have, so it's funny, like, I've burned, so fun fact, crinoline is very flammable.
Oh, especially with that hot engine. Yes.
So not even just the engine, my pipes, have like I call it my permanent scar. My pipes, most women or men burn like the inside of their ankle. Okay? No, I set a dress on fire. So I have this big poofy dress and I'm like, whatever. I got to get from point A to point B to get this dress off because I got zipped into it at a shoot. So I just, like, I walked out and I was like, oh, I don't want to walk all the way back up those stairs, but also I can't get this dress off on my own. So I was like, I'm just going to ride home and I'll have my neighbor help me get undressed.
So now you're on fire at your neighbor's house.
So, like, the whole dress, like, it was pretty bad. Whatever, I don't care.
You didn't have to get no skin grafts or anything.
No, it was just a dress.
Okay, good.
It's just the dress. Like, it was so deep. Like, I kept smelling something burn. I'm like, what is that? And I was like, oh my God, it's me. But I was like, I'll ride faster to put it out. That just not was
oxygen.
Yeah. And I should not be a firefighter. And it does not work.
That's funny.
Yeah. But let's move up to let's go to our big time stuff.
Well, this is our fireside chats. Yeah.
We should bring the fire to the bed with us. Oh, we can talk about. I love that we both got the same idea.
We'll take the fire to bed with you, baby.
It's gonna become a weird sexuality again. I like it.